This is I'm Talkin Jazz. Welcome to KCSM's I'm Talkin Jazz, where each week we visit with and get to know the people behind America's true musical art form, jazz, our gift to the world. Good morning, I'm Chris Cortez, and this week we continue our celebration of Jazz Appreciation Month with pianist Joe Warner. Born and raised in Martinez, California, Joe Warner cut his teeth working in a host of settings in the San Francisco Bay, gaining valuable experience on and off the bandstand, woodshedding with his childhood friend, multi-instrumentalist Howard Wiley. Introduced to jazz at an early age, Joe was encouraged by his father to dive into his record collection, and that he did, where he discovered the music of Thelonious Monk and many others. He later began taking lessons from pianist Quito Gamble and eventually came into the attention of vocalist Faye Carroll, who took him under his wing. And since then, he's become a well-sought-after accompanist and sideman, recording and working with Marcus Shelby, Steve Turre, Gary Bartz, and Mary Stallings, and many, many others. Today, he continues as the swinging and soulful pianist and music director for the dynamic Miss Faye Carroll, taking him to fun and unpredictable musical moments. In this next hour, Joe discusses and unveils music from his pet project, Give the Drummer Some, where he produced and played a string of concerts with legendary drummers Dennis Chambers, Lenny White, Bernard Pretty Purdy, and Darryl Green. Let's check it out. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Are you a San Francisco born or a San Francisco Bay Area person?
Yeah, I'm originally from Martinez, California. Grew up there, Alhambra High School graduate, and came up playing classical music and got into jazz and other stuff like that when I was about 12 or 13. And I was lucky to be hooked up early on at about that age with the great saxophonist Howard Wiley, who was living at the time in Hercules. So he was kind of in the neighborhood and he would come to my parents' house and coach our group. We had a group with my brother on guitar and a friend of ours on bass, and Howard would play drums. And so that was kind of my first entrance into the music. And from that connection, I met a whole world of people. Keto Gamble, incredible pianist who I took lessons from, and eventually Faye Carroll.
Yeah.
And, things went on from there. And I've been playing professionally around here now for about 10 or 12 years.
I think that's pretty hip that you knew you wanted to play jazz at 13. I was playing thrash metal at 13. And
Yeah.
I kind of wish that I started a bit earlier like you did, but that's beautiful. And the
Yeah,
fact,
my dad always had a lot of records around the house, Thelonious Monk and Errol Garner, Ahmad Jamal, and a lot of blues people, Muddy Waters and so forth. So I was exposed to a lot early on, and by the time I kind of got hooked into the community, then it was just a go from there.
was your father also a musician?
Yeah, yeah, hobbyist musician. Yeah,
Uh-huh. But he was
music
he was the
enthusiast.
gateway to you, I guess, getting you into those
Yeah,
jazz records. Do you remember that first
yeah.
jazz record? That was it Ahmad Jamal, you said, or
I think the first cat I really heard was Thelonious Monk.
uh-huh.
Yeah,
That's
so
a
he was
great
one of my big
introduction.
early influences. Oh, definitely.
Well,
Yeah.
you mentioned Howard Wiley, and Howard is a tremendous talent here in the San Francisco Bay Area. I just found out recently that he played drums, and he does it
Oh,
very,
yeah.
very well, just as good as
Yeah.
his sax playing. But what I think it's very cool that you mentioned him is because you and Howard were both mentored by the great Faye Carroll, and
Yeah.
Faye has a long-standing tradition here in the San Francisco Bay Area, not only as an entertainer, but someone who's taken young musicians under her wing and really showing them the ropes. And I think of folks like you and Howard Wiley, as well as pianist Benny Green. And how long has that association been now with Faye Carroll? I know I mentioned it's been close to 10 years, but it's probably more than that
Yeah,
now.
it's been about 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
wow, so
Pretty
you're
incredible.
turning 30, so you were barely 20. when you met her.
Yeah. Well, I first started working with her with Marcus Shelby. I had been working with Marcus for a few years, and sometimes she would be, the featured guest artist on the gigs. So that was kind of my entrance into working with her. And then eventually, once she saw that I was serious, I think, she took me under her wing, and I started to learn a lot more about the breadth of black music.
What do you think she saw in you in your playing?
Um, I think she saw that I had a real dedication to the music and a real authentic love of the music. I was the cat that was always there at rehearsal trying to figure it out. If somebody mentioned a record, I would go home and check it out and learn the songs off it. I was into it. So
That's
that
right.
takes you a long way, and then before you know it, you find you're playing pretty good.
Let me tell you about a man I know. He's my baby and he lives next door. Every morning when the sun comes up, he brings me coffee in my favorite cup. That's why I know, hallelujah, I love him so. Now when I'm in trouble and I have no friend, I know he'll go with me until the end. Everybody asks me how I know. I smile and tell him 'cause he told me so. That's why I know, hallelujah, I love him so. Now when I call him on the telephone, say, baby, I'm all alone. By the time I count from 1 to 4, here he is coming in at my door. In the evening when the sun goes down, and there ain't nobody else around. He kisses me and holds me tight. Say, baby, everything's alright. That's why I know, hallelujah, I love him so. When I call him on the telephone, say,
I thought you were going to tell me something like, "Yeah, I came out of this deep South, Louisiana," because you
There's
really.
a few of us.
Go
There's
ahead.
a few of us that came out of Martinez. A few musicians. Yeah.
But you have this amazing feel and this real soulful touch to your playing. So I thought maybe you came out of somewhere else, but the Bay Area is
Yeah,
quite.
I spent a little bit of time in Louisiana studying with a great pianist there named Henry Gray. He's now passed on, but he was a pianist on a lot of Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters records way back in the day.
Right,
So I
right,
went down there to Baton Rouge and New Orleans to hang out with him and study with him
right.
at an early age. That was a big influence as well.
It's really important to have those early mentors, really
Yeah.
show you the way, and that's fantastic that you were able to also study with Quito Gamble. Quito is Faye Carroll's daughter, if
That's
our
right.
listeners don't
Yeah.
know, but
And
Quito
just a
also.
brilliant artist, brilliant pianist and composer and all-around artist.
I just love her energy too.
Yeah, no, she's really one of the greats of our time.
That's right. That's right. Now, getting back to Faye Carroll, what was your first impression of Faye? Because I have to understand that Faye, she's a nurturing and a wonderful teacher and also a good friend to musicians. But were you sort of intimidated working with Faye at first? I mean, what was your first impression working with her?
My first impression, I went to see her. My family went to see her. Howard was supposed to be on the gig with Quito. Quito was doing her CD release at
Sure.
Yoshi's,
Uh-huh.
probably around 2006 or so. And so we were going to see Howard play, and him being our teacher, and Faye Carroll was a guest on the show, and so that was the first time I heard Quito or Faye, and I was just blown away by her, command of the stage and command of the band and what she was doing with the music. It was just incredible. So from there on, I was a fan. I was at all the shows, checking it out, and yeah, she's just a monster artist.
Yeah,
One of the
and
greats.
as I understand, Faye was sort of like Betty Carter was. I got to see Betty Carter over at Yoshi's, the old Yoshi's over in Oakland on Claremont Avenue.
Yeah.
And boy, was she working those musicians. I think Curtis Lundy was on the bandstand. And
Yeah.
they're all young musicians, and they would start playing, and then she would just stop the band. It just
Yeah.
would be this awkward silence. And she'd look over at the drummer and say, "Drummer, what are you doing?"
Well, Faye Carroll's unique because a lot of people, there's a number of really, really great singers out there, and that's great. But what makes Faye Carroll stand out from that is, besides being a great singer, she really has a sound,
Yeah.
and the sound that she's going for. As the band, you're an integral part of that sound, and she knows exactly how to get what she needs for her music out of you.
Mm-hmm. That's
And
right.
so that's what's going to happen. If you're on stage with her, then she's going to bring the best out of you. And sometimes it's things that you didn't know that you could do that you find yourself doing. And that's the mark of a great band leader and a great teacher, to be able to bring the best out of their students and their instrumentalists.
This is KCSM's I'm Talkin Jazz. You're listening to a conversation with pianist Joe Warner. I'm Chris Cortez. I know as a pianist as well, working with a vocalist is truly a difficult thing to do. And it's a gift, really, to be able to work with a vocalist as skilled as Faye Carroll, as creative and spontaneous, because it really does
Yeah,
keep you on your toes, doesn't it?
yeah, and it's such a range of material that she covers. You have to be proficient in, traditional gospel music and blues, all the different flavors of blues from Otis Spann to Fats Domino to
Mm.
Ray Charles,
Oh, yeah.
and then moving on through Bud Powell, Oscar Peterson, Ahmad Jamal, Errol Garner, McCoy Tyner.
Yep.
It's a lot of different stylistic directions that you need to be able to go,
Hmm.
besides playing in all the different tempos, all the different keys. Singers like to do things in different keys. So you might find yourself playing Sophisticated Lady in B or something like that.
Is that a tough key to
And
play in?
oh yeah.
I would
So
know because I'm a drummer, so
oh okay, yeah, B, E, A. These are unusual keys.
I see.
But you have to have that kind of proficiency,
Mm.
on a technical level and a stylistic level
Oh,
to
yeah.
be able to back up somebody like her.
Well, you've
And as the
cert.
pianist, you're the natural leader of the band in most cases.
That's
So
right.
then
A lot
a lot
falls
of
on your
things.
shoulders.
Yeah, you're the one who has to really make sure things happen on the bandstand.
That's absolutely right. And Joe has taken on a tremendous project. I like to call it a personal project. Some people may call it a vanity project, something
Yeah,
that's close to your heart,
yeah,
and you put together an amazing series last year. I think it was I want to say September,
that's right.
and a series of shows where 4 concerts where you invited 4 amazing drummers, I should say legendary drummers, to join you on the bandstand. And each weekend was a different show, a different drummer, and a different concept. And I thought that was just a wonderful, offering to the San Francisco Bay Area. And I guess for yourself too, because in a selfish way, I mean, you sort of, I'm sure you wanted to play with some of these giants.
Yeah, like you said, vanity project. I was on every gig, so it was a blast for me.
That's right. That's right. So
And yeah,
and the series is called "Give the Drummer Some," and those drummers include Dennis Chambers, Lenny White,
yeah,
Bernard Pretty Purdy, and my man Daryl Green. Who's also on the fast track to becoming a legend. Daryl, who's also worked with Faye Carroll. He's gone on to work with Pharoah Sanders and Dr. Lottie Smith, and the list goes on. And he's in New York, but he came back to do this performance with you. So as we get into Give the Drummer Some, I do want to know, how did this idea come about?
Well, I've always had a real special affinity for the drums because the drums contain the language of jazz music. It's all there in the drums, and the drums really make or break the band. So I had always had aspirations to really play with the best drummers that are out there. These were all my first call choices, people I'd admired a long time and listened to them on records for a long time. So to be able to share the bandstand with them and rehearse with them and perform was really just incredible.
Take us back to that first moment. Who did you contact first? Was it Bernard Purdy or was it Dennis Chambers, Letty
I
White?
think the first cat reached out to was Lenny White. Um, I was connected to him through Myron Cohen, who's a drummer and drum aficionado around here, knows a
Sure.
lot of the cats, and so
Hmm.
he hooked me up with Lenny White, and we spoke. And I think people get a sense of your commitment and your seriousness from talking to you.
Oh
These
yeah.
cats have been out there so long and met a lot of different kinds of musicians, so I
Hmm.
think they probably got a sense that I was, serious about the music, and I sent them a few clips of me playing and of Faye Carroll singing. She was on two of the shows with
Mm,
two of the drummers, so
I
they were
see.
able to check us out and see what it was like, and they were into it and came out
Awesome.
here, and I think everybody had a good time. I know I did.
Well, I'm telling you, the results are just astonishing. I mean, the hearing Dennis Chambers just swing so hard. I mean, he's such a great player in all different styles, and as well as Lenny White.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Dennis is a monster. I had heard him on records with Maceo Parker,
oh yeah.
and Maceo comes from a similar place as Faye Carroll,
Hmm.
where he's swinging, playing tunes by Ray Charles, and he's playing funk. So Dennis was just a natural fit for her music,
Oh
and
yeah.
he could go in any direction and just chops for days
Hmm.
and puts them on display. But the thing I really like about Dennis is that he really understands how to play music. He really has a gift for playing the song
Hmm.
and playing with the people that he's playing with. You really build music together with them, and that's part of what makes him really special.
This is KCSM's I'm Talkin Jazz. You're listening to a conversation with pianist Joe Warner. I'm Chris Cortez. Each one of
Mm.
these drummers have a musical, personality, if you will, although they are
Yeah.
quite versatile. So, take us through your process of putting together the repertoire because the repertoire is wide. You go from John Coltrane to Billy Strayhorn to to Cedar
Yeah.
Walton. You do Eddie Harris. You even do Stevie Wonder and Horace Silver. So take us through. Let's start with Lenny White, for instance, since he was the first person that you reached out to.
Yeah, well, he came out here the day before the gigs. We just had one day to rehearse. And so, we tried to pick music that we were all pretty familiar with.
Hmm.
Essie was playing bass, and he can just do anything you throw at him.
Oh yeah.
But Lenny White, I think, is really special because he comes from an era that I always thought was really special of cats that came out in like the latter 60s when swinging was still really the thing, but
Hmm.
they were also the funk generation.
Oh yeah.
So they can really go in either direction. You can find Lenny White on records with Shaka Khan, and you can find him with Freddie Hubbard and Miles Davis,
Right.
and go in any direction that you want. So with him, we were really able to do kind of a broad spectrum of stuff. We did Earth, Wind and Fire song.
Nice.
We were swinging. We did Confirmation. We did Freedom Jazz Dance, really funky.
I saw the video.
So,
Yeah, I saw that on YouTube.
yeah, yeah. So it was just a blast playing with him. And his thing is so intricate. Like a lot of great artists, he makes it look easy and sound easy. You're listening to him, you're like, wow, that's. But then when you really break it down and really listen and watch him, there's just a lot going on, and his thing is just put together so brilliantly.
Yep.
So it was just really special to play with him.
So how about Bernard Purdy? I know Bernard. He likes to talk. Bernard. You could sit there and have a conversation with Bernard for like 4 or 5 hours and not even
Yeah,
know it.
but he has such a long history. He's known as the world's most recorded drummer.
Oh yeah,
He's been on thousands and thousands of
the
records
Purdy
with,
Shuffle.
yeah, the Purdy Shuffle. He developed, certain beats that are
Mm-hmm.
unique to him.
Yep.
He's been on really influential records. The Thrill Is Gone, Aretha Franklin stuff.
Oh yeah.
If you saw the Amazing Grace movie with Aretha Franklin, he was playing in that ensemble. So he
Wow.
just has a more lengthy history than you could imagine. And so it was special to play with him because we actually played some of that material on the show.
Mm-hmm.
We did Thrill Is Gone, we did Until You Come Back to Me, we did
Wow.
Think, Aretha Franklin,
Oh wow.
records that he played on. So that was a real special experience. And to have Rusty Allen, who's a
Mm-hmm.
great bass player, he was playing electric. He was with Sly Stone on Fresh,
That's right.
and If You Want Me to Stay, those kind of records.
Uh huh.
So that was just a natural fit. And Jesus Diaz on percussion just added another dimension.
Oh wow.
So that was real special. And to have Faye Carroll singing those songs, and they all come from the same era, the same place. Rusty and Bernard Purdy and herself. So it's just a
Mm.
natural magic that was going to happen when we hit the bandstand.
Yeah, you guys were digging deep. It sounds like.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
beautiful.
we had fun.
Oh, did Bernard Purdy, did he share his Beatles story with you by any chance?
He actually did a master class at Jeffrey's the following day,
Uh-huh.
and people really loved that. And he told all kinds of stories. Like you said, he can once he gets to talking,
He can
has a lot
flow.
of history to share.
Oh yeah.
So he told his Beatles story, and he gave away copies of his new autobiography. So
Yeah. Yeah, I was blown away
people
when
were
he
into it.
when he shared that with me.
Yeah.
That he replaced a bunch of drum tracks for the Beatles. So
Yeah, he said he did that for quite a few artists, and I guess either signed away his rights for credit,
Yep.
or and maybe in some cases just wasn't credited, but that was kind of a thing that was happening at the time. And
But he assured me that he got handsomely rewarded. So I
Oh,
mean,
yes,
he had to
yes.
sign the NDA, the non-disclosure
Yeah.
agreement, but he was paid handsomely. So
yeah,
Now-
well, when you need the best, you call in the best.
that's it, man.
Yeah.
The fixer, they call them.
Yes.
He'd come in and fix the drum take. That's
Yeah.
right. Going back to what you said, a drummer really makes or breaks the band. You can tell when a
Yeah.
band is happening, if the
Yeah.
drummer's cooking. So, and the fourth drummer that was part of this series was someone that you spent some time with, and that's drummer Daryl Green. Daryl, who was also a product of the San Francisco Bay Area and also mentored by the great Faye Carroll, among many others. And well,
Yeah.
why did you bring in Daryl? Was that something close to your heart, and you just wanted to get him on the gig and
Yeah, well, I've known
acknowledge
Daryl
him?
since I was about 15. I met him through Howard as well, and
Wow.
Geechee Taylor.
Oh wow.
And so we played together under a lot of circumstances, a lot of shows with Faye Carroll and shows with Marcus Shelby and my own trio. So
Mhm.
I hadn't played with him in a number of years. He's been doing his own project in New York and working with Camille, his wife, Camille
Sure.
Thurman.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, when the opportunity came up to bring him back and play with us, it was just, a natural thing to do because, like you said, he's been with Faye Carroll since he was about 14 or 15.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
on 3 or 4 of her records or so. So, when she really needs to hit, that's who gets the call.
That's right. I think it's
'Cause he's
wonderful.
going to come in and nail it.
It's just
Yeah.
absolutely right. He does nail it
Yeah.
every time, and it's
Yeah,
just
he's a
lovely.
great all-around drummer. He really went in and studied the drums.
Oh,
He
yeah.
knows about the drums as an instrument and
The
all the
history
different
of it.
styles, the history. Yeah,
Mhm.
just great all-around musician.
So, Joe, it looks like we're running out of time, but I did want to ask you because you have your hand in so many different projects these days, in addition to working with Faye Carroll on a regular basis. What's coming up for you?
Well, we're going to be doing the Art and Soul Festival in July in downtown Oakland. It's a great
Oh, so
festival.
fun, and it's back.
Yeah, they were on hiatus like everybody for the last 2 years, but they'll be back and we'll be headlining the show with her new commission, the Hewlett 50 Commission. It's
Wow.
called Blues, Baroque, and Bars. And we'll have Dennis Chambers playing drums and a string quartet and a rapper along with the trio. So that'll
Ooh,
be a real special project for
yeah.
people to check out in latter July
All right.
at the Art and Soul Festival. And then next May, we'll have another iteration of Give the Drummer Some. I can't talk about the details yet, but it'll be at the SF Jazz Center, and they're
Ooh.
going to be releasing the full lineup in June. And we have several nights of some really incredible, legendary drummers that
Oh,
will be
man.
performing with us. 2 nights trio and 2 nights with Faye Carroll. So keep an eye out for that when that drops in June. And
Oh,
that'll be for
man.
next year.
Oh, that's going to be a beautiful thing. Said we wish
Yeah.
you much luck.
Well, thank you, Chris. It's great to talk drums with another drummer, and I
That's
really appreciate you having me on the show.
This is I'm Talking Jazz. You've been listening to a conversation with pianist Joe Warner. Joe continues to act as accompanist and music director for the dynamic Miss Faye Carroll, in addition to leading his own trio. To stay apprised of all things Joe Warner, visit him online at joewarnermusic.com or catch him on his socials on Facebook or Instagram. For KCSM's I'm Talkin Jazz, I'm Chris Cortez, inviting you to join us next week for Melanie O'Reilly's Jazz on the Bay. She gets every last Sunday at 9 a.m. She'll be presenting guitarist Larry Coryell. We'll see you then.
I'm Talkin Jazz is a production of KCSM FM 91. Producer is Chris Cortez. For questions or comments, email us at talkingjazz@kcsm.net. That's talkingjazz@kcsm.net. You've been listening to I'm Talkin Jazz on KCSM, the Bay Area's jazz station.